Coming off a heartbreaking loss to USC in the first round of the playoffs, we were feeling defeated. Feeling like we let everyone down. Feeling like we couldn't finish our story. It was an expectation that we'd make it to this point, and we failed. Despite that loss, a large buzz would be surrounding Ohio State, as most of our top guys were set to return, and we were even listed as a preseason Heisman candidate based on our performance. It was a foregone conclusion that we'd run it back. But tragedy would strike. Late one evening following a spring practice, we'd be involved in an accident that would tragically result in the death of 2 new recruits. It made national news. We didn't come out unscathed, as we'd break our leg in 2 places in the accident. Now, we weren't operating the vehicle at the time of the accident, but we were the ones that provided the alcohol to the late recruits. We did the honorable thing and went to Coach Day with the information, and in an attempt to get ahead of the impending media storm, he stripped us of our scholarship and cut us from the team. Now, Mom and Dad do well for themselves, but they couldn't afford the tuition, and we couldn't even show our face around campus anyways, so we would go back home to Philly and sign up for classes at the local community college. We were disgraced, broken, our names being dragged through the mud at every turn. And to make matters worse, we'd have to sit at home on the couch, leg in a cast, and watch as Ohio State cruise to a national championship without us that next season. That was our team, our fans, our title, but not anymore. Depressed and out of shape, we knew we had to get back, but nobody would have us. Too much baggage, and this recent tragedy just further confirmed all the negative things our critics have been saying about us since our freshman year. And the fact that we suffered such a serious injury, there was no guarantee that we'd even be able to play again, but we had to try. And we'd receive one shot in the form of a favor from an unlikely ally. Will we take advantage of this rare shot of redemption, or will our demons haunt us forever? Yo, what it do, YouTube? It's your favorite pilot, Conscious Buddha, and we are back with another episode of our Justin Dawkins Road to Glory. And after a year of uncertainty and speculation, we would get the call to come up and play for the Temple Owls in our hometown of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, there were still a couple more questions that need to be answered, as we would show up to camp with a knee brace on, that same leg that we broke in that horrific accident from a year prior. After a couple reps on it, we felt confident enough to take the brace off, but we still didn't know how it would affect us in our first game. Now, we didn't know if we would be able to keep up with game speed, and going into our matchup against number 5 ranked Notre Dame, we didn't have many expectations at all. We're on a new team, new defense, and the chemistry just isn't there yet. We were more concerned with making sure that our leg was healed properly. And I gotta say, after this performance, there was no doubt in my mind that we were football ready again. We would finish this game with a slew of tackles, and not 1, not 2, but 3 kick return touchdowns as Temple would cruise to an insane 14-point upset against Notre Dame on the road. That next week in practice, we will be running around without our knee brace with a newfound confidence, knowing that the speed of the game hasn't left us behind. We may not be in a big market anymore, but we're going to have our presence felt on the field. The next hurdle was seeing if we could still make big plays on defense. That answer would come in week 3 at home, as we would take on FCS East. We'd be swarming to the ball all day, and we would get our first pick in an Owls uniform. And now, I normally take pride in my coverage ability, but this season was different. We came out hitting this year, really getting after it, and double-digit tackling performances became the norm for us. Now in Philly, fans aren't given to you, they're earned. And it was obviously heartbreaking, as we had an opportunity to beat 2 top 25 conference opponents, but we would let those games slip through our fingers with back-to-back double-digit fourth quarter collapses. We take the blame for those losses. We made some bad reads, got ourselves out of position trying to play rogue defense, and we left a lot of our teammates vulnerable. And there's no excuse for that selfish kind of ball. This is a rare second chance, and we can't have a subpar season. But at 3-3, we're looking pretty average so far. We get a moment of respite against a run-heavy Army team, and we were all over them from the first snap. Making plays in the backfield, running sideline to sideline on the way to a huge win in a rained-out Lincoln Financial Field. We'd hold a team meeting after this game, reminding everyone that while we were a new addition to the team, We wanted nothing more than to win for the city. This was bigger than a redemption story. This was bigger than football. This was about us giving our all for our Philly faithful and building a culture of winning for the Temple squad. And I don't know what it was that I said, but we bounced back in the second half of the season in a major way with some of the most dominating defensive performances from myself. We were flying to the ball over these next couple games, shutting down the pass and the run, playing like a madman possessed, as it seemed like every play ended with the PA announcer saying our name. We had such a long time to reflect on all our decisions over the past year, all the mistakes we made, the people we disappointed, the lives that were destroyed, and that fueled us. We were playing angry, and after 3 back-to-back games with double-digit tackles, we came out and swarmed to the ball for 21 tackles against Charlotte. We'd end up losing an overtime thriller to them, but we would get a chance the following week to finally beat a top 25 conference opponent as we faced Memphis in the season finale. We were down 13 early, but a clutch interception off of a juggled drop would spark a comeback by our squad. We come out in the second half playing shutdown defense on the way to 24 unanswered points. And just like in the season opener and in countless games from our freshman year, a big special teams play by us will put the game away as we break off this big punt return, getting tackled at the 1 yard line, setting up the game-clinching score. We were now 8-4 after starting off 3-3, and even though we didn't win the conference, we'd be slated for bowl play against Arkansas in the Armed Forces Bowl. And it all began to hit me. Images of USC celebrating on the field. Ohio State holding up that trophy while we sat at home, broken leg. This was the biggest game of our life. I didn't care that it was a mid-card bowl game. I didn't care that it was a matchup between 2 unranked teams. This was our Super Bowl, and we'd have to put on a show to get the win. We were facing a running quarterback in this game, so I didn't expect many opportunities to come our way, so you can imagine my surprise when the ball was thrown right to us on this second quarter interception. We'd continue making big plays, following that up with a forced fumble in the third quarter, and we'd come out in the fourth quarter with a 4-point lead and all the pressure in the world to finish strong. And we'd do just that. After not kicking us the ball the entire game, the punter would make the dreadful mistake of outkicking his coverage and giving us an open lane down the right sideline to score the game-winning punt return. And we cap off the season of redemption with a bowl victory, off of a performance that has become synonymous with us as a player. I mean, double-digit tackles, an interception, a forced fumble, and a return touchdown? That's vintage Justin Dawkins, almost mimicking our performance from our previous bowl game. We'd finished the season with a bone-shattering 162 tackles, winning the full slate of defensive awards as well as Returner of the Year. And if there was a Comeback Player of the Year award, I can guarantee we'd win that too. They say success is the best revenge, and after a season of defeat, we came back to a new team, new conference, new city, and performed at an unmatched level. We stayed locked in on focus academically as well, being named an Academic All-American in addition to our on-field accolades. Now, even though we were wrapping up our third year eligibility, I was just as shocked as anyone when we received an invite to the Combine. So what's next for Justin Dawkins? Time will tell. I know I won't win every fan over, but I'll spend the entirety of whatever career I end up having representing my home and my family to the best of my ability. And to those 2 players who lost their lives due to my carelessness, I promise to take care of your families as well. If you asked me 3 years ago if I knew this is how my life would turn out, I'd say you were crazy. But on the eve of forever, I can't lie. The future is looking pretty bright.